2016, they were in the World Series playing the Cubs. I just forgot about that. Anyway, the Dodgers had a trade. They traded outfielder Estuary Ruiz to Miami for right-handed pitching prospect Adriano Marrero. Joe Kelly, the relief pitcher, 13 years in the major leagues, decided to hang.
I just want to say something. I've heard that twice now, and they got two different players in that trade.
Yeah. Anyway, I can't pronounce it either way. The problem with baseball, the problem mainly with baseball is that they have, now that the sport is international. Yeah. It's international. I get all these eye charts. These names look like an eye chart, and I can't pronounce things. I used to be in radio, so I could pronounce stuff, but I can't do it anymore. That's another thing about being old. I came into the world, I had no hair, no teeth, and somebody slapped a diaper on me, and it looks like I'm going out the same way. But anyway, Joe Kelly, 13 years. He's retired. Decided to hang him up. He won a World Series with Boston in 2018 and with the Dodgers in 2020. He made his debut with the St. Louis Cardinals in 2012. Relief pitcher Kirby Yates, 38 years old, signed with the Angels for 1 year, and they managed to buy out Anthony Rendon's contract. So Anthony Rendon is no longer an albatross around their neck.
Get him out of here.
Yeah, and he played for from 2019 until this year, and he had something like 22 home runs and 125 RBIs. He hardly ever played because he was always hurt. San Francisco, they signed right-handed pitcher Tyler Mahle he's 31 years old, 1 year. He was with Texas last year. He lost the season due to Tommy John surgery, but he's supposed to be ready for spring training. The Houston Astros signed right-handed pitcher Tatsuyama Amai, the Japanese pitcher, for 3 years, $63 million. That's incentive. They signed him to $54 million, but he can earn $63 with incentives. And it was kind of odd because you heard all these teams, the Yankees, the Cubs, different teams throwing a wide. He might sign with Boston. So what does he do? He signs Houston. Everybody went, wow. They didn't see that coming.
It's the same way with White Sox. It's like,
last week he had a White Sox. Minnesota, they signed infielder DH Eric Wagaman, 28 years old. They got him from Miami. Well, they traded for him from Miami. And Miami got minor league reliever Cade Bragg. Oh, and Lenny Dykstra, the old second baseman, shortstop,
center fielder. Center
fielder, yeah, with Pittsburgh, I believe.
No, Mets and Phillies.
I remember with the Phillies. I remember he finished with the Phillies, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know if he finished with the Phillies, but he was World Series with Mets. He played on the dirtbag team with Dalton, Kruk.
Oh yeah. And he was arrested in Pennsylvania this weekend.
Yeah, Double D. It was an adventure tonight. Thanks.
Yeah. You guys are late. Yeah, no, we weren't late. We just weren't on the air. I've been talking for 20 minutes.
We talked for 13 minutes thinking we were on the air.
Yeah.
It was y'all missed the best parts.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Anyway, Lenny Dykstra was arrested on New Year's Day. He was pulled over for a traffic violation in Pennsylvania, and they found drug paraphernalia in his car, so he got arrested. Toronto, they signed the Japanese third baseman / DH Kazuyama Akamoto to a 4-year, $60 million deal. So there again, that pretty much takes Toronto out of the Bregman deal, and Bichette's probably going too. They picked up the third baseman they were going to move an outfielder to third base. Yep. And they were talking about Kyle Tucker. They're going to move in one of the outfielders to third base. Now they don't have to do that. This guy's going to play third base for them. So they won't have to move their center fielder to third base. Philadelphia, Don Mattingly signed as their bench coach. I think this is a big signing for Philadelphia. I think it's going to help them a lot.
Huge.
He helped
so far, I think.
Well, he helped Toronto immensely last year.
Yes, he will. If they listen to him, he's going to be a great help to
Don Mattingly's son, Preston, I believe, I read an article where he's in the Philadelphia front office. So anyway, and in Kansas City now today they're firing NFL coaches left and right. I don't know who they're going to hire because they got the same team. But anyway, this made me feel better when I saw all the coaches getting fired. The Kansas City manager, Matt Quatraro, is 52 years old. He signed a 3-year extension. He will be with them for the next. He has this year and then a 3-year extension. So he'll be with the Kansas City Royals for the next 4 years. And the players are very happy because they really like him. And we're talking about the team spending money on free agency. 21 of the 30 teams have spent less than $60 million so far. 21 of them. And a lot of them are the big teams like Boston, the Yankees, Cubs. They've spent under $60 million.
Yeah, and like we were saying before we figured out we were just talking to each other, which is awesome. We still got 3 bigger contracts to go. So somebody's going to be paying more than $60 million probably out of those 21 teams. But it's going to be interesting, and it'll probably end up being wait until see what you got in the preseason, like they've done in the past, because it just seems like, and these 3 guys, we said that 2 of them are injury prone. Like Bellinger played his first complete year last year in a number of years. Cal Tucker's missed time in the last 3 years. So it's kind of hard to put that type of money into a longer contract with these guys. And Bregman's not a young chicken, spring chicken anymore. I think that's.
Then you got Bichette.
Yeah, then you got Bichette, which he had a good season last year, but was it a breakout season? I don't know.
And he's better suited for second base and third base because he made several errors at shortstop.
Right. And he's not.
And when he wasn't making errors at shortstop, there were balls he couldn't get to.
Right. Yeah.
He'd slowed down.
Yeah.
He had slowed down because of his leg. But he was better at second base during the World Series. I thought he was anyway when they moved him to second base. So, they were just waiting. They waited last year. Soto was the only one to sign a huge contract because they waited until the money came down. And still, a couple of the teams got messed up with they wasted money on people. Montgomery, the pitcher that Arizona signed, he didn't pitch. He was hurt. But in baseball, once you sign that contract, baby, you got to pay him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's going to be fun to see where these guys land. The rumor mill, like I said, for Tucker, it's, of course, I get all the Mets stuff on all the social. So they got Tucker high on their board. They're not really talking about anybody else. All of the people that think they know. You've been hearing other teams as well. Toronto, if Toronto gets in, geez, that's going to just, I think you could pencil them in as winning the East again, I think. But
they're not sitting still.
Yeah, I think they're doing what I thought the Mariners. Well, the Mariners did a great job of signing Naylor, extending him there, and I think, they need one more bat. Kyle Tucker would be great there, or Bregman, but to really round out that roster and having maybe a Bregman that's been there before to kind of get you there, that would not be a bad sign.
Well, I personally, I think Bregman will be in one or two places. I think he'll either go back to Boston. If he doesn't go to Boston, I think he'll go to Detroit because they paid to play for him last year. And I think maybe Ranger Suarez might go to Detroit also.
So is Detroit a buyer or are they a seller? Everybody wants
Well,
to sell off.
I'm thinking if Detroit can get Suarez, they're showing Scooble that they're sticking with him, that they're trying to get him help.
Well, they got to sign him. I mean, that's fine and dandy, but you got to give the man the money, or you're playing for this season basically. And I mean, they can do whatever they want. That some teams in that division are making moves. So, like I said, it's interesting to really see these moves going down. And it's fun to hypothetically think about who's going where and how it's going to help a team. It's a little bit too much of that online. It's just everybody's throwing their hat in the ring of what they think they know. And the last two signings from Asia have been to teams nobody even talked about. They won't sniffed about, won't anything. They won't even mentioned. But here we are with the guy in Houston and a guy in, well, actually all three, Toronto, White Sox.
And Houston.
Yeah.
Well, Houston, they lost Flambert. Thank you. Much appreciated. At least I've got it. I mean, at my age, you're just kind of glad to get to the birthday. That's and still walking around.
Yes, Colorado Sports Dude. It's my dad's 80th birthday Wednesday. We're doing good, Red Light. Thank you for asking. So my first day back to work in 2 weeks, so I'm doing okay. A little tired tonight.
Well, I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate that I still, at my age, I'm still really active and.
Well, what else? Yeah,
I can't remember everybody's name anymore, but I could, I'm still pretty active, and
You've never been good with names.
I never have. I never forget.
My friends used to laugh because if they knew they all had nicknames. You remember the nickname?
Yeah, I remember all your friends when they come over to the house when you're in high school, and I, call them Whistle Britches and Stop Sign and Speed Bump. And I had names for everybody.
But speaking of that, let's talk a little bit. I just wishing you a happy birthday, Brian. I think you meant what you're doing. It's from Red Light. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think that's a dad thing. But
it's a dad thing, yeah.
But so my dad, you've been 80 years, love baseball, love sports. But I just want to. What's one of your favorite memories of baseball?
I think we kind of touched on this. A few when we were talking about what was the best World Series or something
World
like
Series. But I'm just talking about any baseball general.
Well, when I was a kid, I was a Brooklyn Dodger fan, and I remember walking home from school the seventh game of the 1955 World Series, and Johnny Padres. I was in the fourth grade, and Johnny Padres was pitching for the shut out the Yankees 2-0 in the seventh game, and Sandy Amorose made a fantastic catch in left field, and I got to see the last couple of innings to see the end of the game, and then the celebration, and I was ecstatic. Because I got to see them, and then it was right about maybe the next year. Your grandfather lived in North Carolina, and he came up, and I was in school in the spring, and it might have been the same year. It was just in the spring, and he came up and he got me out of the class. And I thought something was wrong. And he said, no. And he took me to Richmond, and I saw the Yankees play the Richmond Virginians, their farm team. And I saw Mantle and Berra and Moose Skowron and Whitey Ford. And, I saw Mickey Mantle hit a home run and batting left-handed. He hit a home run. Of course, the game lasted about an hour because everybody came up and swung at the first pitch. But I remember that. That was a big deal. There's been some things I remember when you were 2 years old and standing in front of the television, and I was getting ready to go to work that night. I was working straight graveyard, and I saw Hank Aaron hit the record-breaking home run against the Dodgers, and that was huge. Your grandmother let me stay home from school one time in 1954 when we first got the TV, so I could watch the first game of the World Series, the Giants and the Indians. And I saw Mays make that catch in center field off of Vic Wertz. I've seen a few no-hitters. But I would say if I had to pick one thing that stood out in my mind, it was very early in my life. And that was the Brooklyn Dodgers finally beat the Yankees. Finally, they beat the Yankees. Now, 3 years later, they broke my heart when they moved to the West Coast. But and then I started rooting for other people. But that was probably it. And seeing Mantle and Yogi and Moose Skowron and those players up close, that was special. When we used to get the autographs, when I'd take you to the Richmond Braves games, and you get the autographs from Glenn Hubbard and people like that, that was kind of cool too. And then we went to Washington and saw Chipper Jones when he was doing his retirement, and we saw him in his last game in Washington, and that was special. That was a special night. That was very special. And I have a lot of good memories, and I remember running up and down the steps working graveyard because the security guard had the radio on down at the door, and I was working at Brown and Williamson. I was running up and down the steps, running back and forth to the second floor where I was working, and telling people what the score was. And that was the night that Pudge Fisk hit the home run. I saw the highlights the next day. He was running down first base doing that. That was another crazy thing. But I've seen some. I'm fortunate enough at my age I saw a lot of the great ball players in the early years. I saw Jackie Robinson near the end of his career. I saw. I didn't get to see some of them. I don't. If I did see them, I don't remember. I just don't remember. But a lot of them, some of them, Joe DiMaggio was my father's favorite player, and I didn't see him play because Mantle was in center field when I started watching the Yankees. So I'm seeing the Yankees on television in 1954. So I saw the three center fielders in New York, Mantle and Snyder and Willie Mays. Yeah. I might be only 20, but I'd only be 20, but I'd feel like 80. I can tell you that. But it's just, there's been so many. I mean, I enjoyed watching that World Series this year. There was that World Series between Toronto and the Dodgers. It was just, you never knew what was going to happen next.
Right.
You just didn't know. And that was one of those series where it was a shame somebody had to lose. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's very hard to pick one. It's very hard to pick one. All the things. I mean, I remember watching you play Little League and enjoying some of the games y'all won and playing Little League, winning the championship that one year when you were in the 11 and 12-year-olds, and then watching Mason, my grandson, your nephew, win the 9 and 10-year-old championship when he was playing Little League. I mean, that's not Major League Baseball, but it meant a lot to me. And I was and when you were playing, I was helping coach. I was coaching. I wasn't a head coach, but I was helping because I worked shift work. I couldn't be there every night, but I was helping.
Yeah, it's always good. Something that I remember growing up was is you pointing out things because you knew I would love baseball at a very early age. So you had me watch Bench. You talked about Roberto Clemente all the time.
Oh, he was amazing.
It's stuck in my head to this day. People that know I collect cards. He's one of my main collector. I almost got all of his playing day cards, base cards at least. You took me to games and had me. I wanted to watch and know what was going on, and you talked to me, not as a child, not as an adult, but as your son, and like taught me the game, and I appreciate that, and I've been lucky for that to happen. Very fortunate that for the.
And then your grandparent,
my grandfather, yes, and Granny Joe. I sit there and watch. I mean, you got it honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
and even your mom's mom. Granny, she watched baseball too. So.
Yeah, I would have to. I paid for her to have DishNet or DirecTV at her house so she can have the baseball package to because our cable didn't have it for some reason. And
she wanted to watch the Mets because she knew that was your team.
And David Wright. She loved David Wright. So she watched the Mets every day. If they weren't on, she would call me and go, "Why are the Mets not?" She didn't understand they had off days. So there was a couple of things. My grandma loved her sports, and she loves college football and Troy Aikman. So
see, I had somebody ask me at church the other day, in my lifetime, who was the greatest baseball player I ever saw. And I told him, I said, well, one of the problems with people trying to say, oh, Michael Jordan and LeBron, who's the best basketball player of all time? I can't take one group of players from back in the 1950s and put them up against the players of today. It's a completely different game.
Right.
Nobody until Nolan Ryan. I take that back. Ryan Duran threw 100 miles an hour. Ryan Duran was elite.
I don't know if Bob Gibson threw 100, but
I don't think Bob Gibson ever got to 100, but Bob Gibson knew exactly where he was throwing the ball, and he threw it about 95, 96. And I mean, Sandy Koufax didn't throw 100, but these guys had, they had great fastballs. Now everybody's throwing the ball 100 miles an hour. The greatest baseball player I've ever seen, Ohtani. I've never seen anybody that can do everything he can do. I mean, he pitches, he hits, he runs the bases, he steals bases.
He can play outfield.
He can play the outfield. He has a great arm from the outfield. I mean, he's just the greatest player I've ever seen all around. If I had to pick one before him, it'd be Willie Mays. The best all-around baseball player, 5 tools, was probably Clemente. But Mays meant more to his team than Clemente did. Clemente was a quiet guy. He led by example. Willie Mays was a leader in the clubhouse and he was always easygoing and laughing and having a good time. But Clemente could do everything. And he and Rocky Colavito throwing a ball from right field all the way to the third baseman on the fly. Rocky Colavito played for the Indians. But Clemente could. And in Pittsburgh, old Forbes Field in Pittsburgh, it was a mile from the right field wall to corner to the third base. And he would throw it on the fly to the third baseman. There'd be a guy at second base. He wouldn't even be tagging up. But Clemente throw the ball anyway just to show everybody what he had. And the crowd would go, ah! I mean, and scream because he was something. I mean, he was something. And then he lost his life doing a good deed. So
he meant so much to his team that Manny Sanguillen went down and chartered a boat and searched for his body because he wouldn't believe he was dead until he found him.
Right.
They still.
Those Pittsburgh teams back then were kind of special. They were special because after the Dodgers went to the West Coast, I rooted for the Dodgers for a while, and then Sandy Koufax Duke Snider was my favorite player. When I was a kid, and then he went to the Mets, and then he retired. And followed the Dodgers while Koufax was there, and then when he retired, because he had to retire early because of arthritis in his elbow. I started rooting for the Pirates because I love Clemente and Sanguian and that. I mean, they had Willie Stargell, and I mean, it was. See, Pittsburgh was one of the first teams to really utilize Latin players.
Internet, yeah.
They were the first team to really utilize those Latin players.
Dodgers perfected it.
And the Dodgers turned it into an art form about using foreign players. But in Atlanta has done a pretty good job with Latin players also.
Atlanta just does a good job.
Yeah.
Their minor league system is.
Well, Atlanta, even their minor league system's not doing well. They have just enough players to keep things going. And then they know how to make trades. They'll sign somebody and they'll go, well, who is this guy? Why did they sign him? And then the next thing you know, he's one of their starters or something. They just have a way. They're one of those organizations that just know how to do it. And they know how to do it right. And I was an Atlanta Braves fan for a long time because of Richmond Braves was the farm team.
Right.
And then I had TBS, and the Cowboys are America's team in football. The Atlanta Braves for about 10 years were known as America's team in baseball. They had fan clubs in Boise, Idaho, Helena, Montana, Yakima, Washington. I mean, they were all over the place because they had TBS. People watched the Braves. So they had, they didn't win any. They only won one World Series, but
they're the team of the South. That's for sure. Still to this day, they pretty much cover.
Everywhere. Tampa and Miami are just there.
Yeah, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, probably Tennessee. I mean, all Virginia. They cover all that. They probably got one of the largest actual fan bases areas they cover, even though they don't have they're not on a superstation. But their fans are everywhere just because of those days. And also, there's no really other true Southern baseball team.
No, here in Virginia, the Orioles, the Nationals have some following, but the Orioles have a good following here in Virginia.
Yeah, but I mean, you still have people,
and they have the AAA farm teams in Norfolk. So
yeah, my age group still are mainly Braves fans because of Richmond. So, yeah, younger than that, it's a little bit different. Now we have the Giants farm team, and I don't see many Giants fans because.
Well, I mean, they draw.
They go there to watch
they'll be moving into the new stadium this fall.
Yeah,
this spring. But they draw. They're one of the top draws in minor league baseball. But that doesn't mean everybody's going to root for the San Francisco Giants. It's just not.
Right.
They're just not. Maybe if they were a Dodger farm team, it'd be a little different.
I gotta say, we did go. I forget which year when the Giants won their World Series. It might have been their first one. Not in recent time. We went the next year for opening day because the minor league teams get to bring up their flag. So we went for the World Series banner raising at the AA team. That place was packed that night.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. We were sitting behind home plate in the upper deck.
Yeah.
It was. I think we were like first or second row. It's really good seats. Diamond is really no bad seats. So we saw Harper play there in AA. Bell. We've seen a lot of good players.
We saw Belk.
Yeah. Crawford. Trying to think.
A lot of the guys that wound up with the Giants.
Yeah. But we're gonna probably end it around here tonight. I want to thank everybody for coming on. Happy birthday, Dad. Thanks everybody for coming on, and wishing my pops a happy birthday. And,
thanks guys. I appreciate it.
And again, if y'all have like, please, anything y'all, any questions, any things, if you don't agree or anything, we would love, conversation starters below. I really would like to know where people think these 3 free agents in their mind. I want to know what area, because you follow teams. I know my buddy Carl out here and Ty's an Orioles fan, Carlisle and Double D. Y'all follow baseball. I would love to know what everybody else is hearing, because it's interesting to know. I follow mainly Mets. That's what I mainly get in the offseason. I don't get much MLB altogether. I get more Mets stuff. And, I hear firsthand Mets stuff. That everything's Mets. So, and that's interesting to know. I like the information. So if y'all have that, let me know. And you got anything to end it with?
Well, I just have one more. I got one more yogiism.
Okay.
And he's, again, talking about getting directions and stuff like that. He just, he's like me. He has no sense of direction. He said, you have to be careful if you don't know where you're going, because you might not get there. And he
That's
said,
true.
and somebody asked him, well, what does that mean? And he said, if you don't set a goal, you can't achieve it. So,
Double D coming in strong before we end the night, saying Angel, unless they get the rally monkey back, I guess.
now let me tell you, now that is a person with a positive attitude right there.
Oh, he is. He is.
The Angels are going to win. The Angels are going to win. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, man, go Red Wings. My poor Caps, they've gone in the tank. But I watched the Red Wings the other night. I was watched it on the NHL network. Man.
Right.
Because the baseball and all the stuff on the MLB, I've seen it. It's all reruns of who hit the home runs and stuff like that.
Well, pretty soon they'll start showing Ken Burns right before the season.
Oh, they did that at Christmas.
Oh, yeah, they do show it at Christmas. So.
Yeah. I still watch it.
Well, I want to thank everybody again. Let us know what you think. Please hit that like button if you don't mind. And again, happy birthday, Pop. Until next time.
6 weeks, spring training.
Awesome. Super Bowl, then baseball starts. That's kind of how it works. Like, share, tell a friend, subscribe if you haven't. It doesn't cost you anything. And we will see ya.